Hey you guys, what is up? I hope you all are having a splendid day today. This is going to be an extremely raw video. I am not going to edit even a second of it. So if I fumble, if I make a mistake, we're just going to be upfront and personal about it. So I'm just about to leave. So by the time uh, you might see this video, by the time this video is uploaded on YouTube, I might have left my hometown and shifted to the city that I work in. But right now, when I'm making this video, I'm actually just 2 hours away from boarding my transport and leaving. And there are a lot of feelings that I'm feeling right now, and I feel like a lot of people who were, because of the pandemic, who shifted back to their hometown, and now when they are leaving, they would have felt. Now, I came here in my hometown in May 2020. So for the initial months of pandemic, I was in the city. I was not here. So when I came here, obviously, like everyone else in the world, I thought it's going to be temporary. And I thought, okay, fine. I left my house at 18, and I had done my law school, and I worked for about a year. And I thought, after 6 years, I am back, and I'm so happy to be back, and all of that. So, of course, I loved my first 6 months here. But afterwards, I started feeling a little jittery because I was not used to being home. And I live in such a small town, there's not much to do outside. I don't know how to drive. There's not much cabs or anything. We don't have a vehicle, so it just became a very, very, very difficult and restricted and claustrophobic for me. And I really, really wanted to just like get out, get out, get out. And of course, the last 1 year, 2021, had been extremely difficult for me because I felt like, oh my God, I am here for almost the entire 2020 and the entire 2021. When is this going to end? And obviously, because of that, there was a lot of friction between me and my parents. Not a lot, but just I was just snapped here and there, and completely to my fault. I would feel that my friends are having the best time of their lives and I am not. I'm not going out partying, even though I'm not a party person. But I'm not going to these fancy cafes and hotels or whatever. I earn as much as they do. But when I open Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, I've not taken a trip for so long. I have not taken a vacation for so long. Oh my God. Basically, a lot of oh my gods, right? So I was like, there are a lot of good things happening to me. Like, touch wood, my parents and I, we didn't get COVID in all three waves. I was employed throughout. Touch wood, like it's such a huge privilege to have. I was fed. I was clothed. I had a shelter over my head. I have such loving parents. We because of our culture, we don't pay rent to our parents. A lot of cultures they have that, but for us, when we come back, no matter if you are a school educated or a college educated or an earning whole individual, you are still going to be a kid to your parents, and it has advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, the codependence and the fact that even though you're an adult, you don't feel like an adult. All of that really kicks in and you feel like, oh, I'm still behaving like a 17-year-old. And that did happen to me. But there were a lot of positives. And because I was so frustrated of living at home, I felt like I never appreciated positives. Like I get to see my mother every day. I get to see my father every day. They're getting old and now I'm earning, so I have a little bit more responsibility. Whatever my father, whatever my mother wants, I can just order, or I can just make them happy. I can just take them to places and stuff like that. I have a bit more perspective about the outside world, so I really like sharing that with them. And I realized that before pandemic, I had never really lived with my parents under one roof after becoming an adult. Like they have always lived with me as a child. Maximum on a stretch that I lived with my parents during law school was 1 month. So, it was not like living together anyways. So we discovered also each other in a different way. And I'm very glad about that. Like my father turned 60 in front of me in this pandemic. I could be with my mother through a lot of things that our family went through and all of that. And I really appreciate it. There are a few serials that my mother and I we sit together and we watch. We eat our meals together, and there are things now when I'm stepping out of this cocoon. Now when I'm going into the outside real world and going to become my goddamn adult self. Um, there is an elation, there is a feeling of getting my independence back, and all of that. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited and I'm happy and I'm ready to meet my colleagues and friends and everything. But also sad and I'm also perplexed, you know. Why do we have to choose in life? If, why is it that living with my parents means leaving my independence or leaving those big city benefits? And why do chasing my dreams and becoming an adult and becoming a responsible person and enjoying my life, taking my trips, making the most of all this, making the most of my 20s means that I have to live in a different city than my parents? And I think it happens with a lot of people, especially the people who live in small towns who don't have opportunities like what I'm chasing right now, what I'm after right now. I'm in a very big law firm, and all these big law firms, they don't have branches and offices in small towns. And of course, my parents have lived in this town all their life. I can't uproot their lives, right? So they are going to stay there, and I'm going to be there, and we are going to meet maybe, if we are lucky, 5 times a year. And it's horrific. Um, People always say that, marriages change daughters and their families' relationship, no matter how toxic and patriarchal that is. I feel like going to a different town, shifting to a different town, whether for studies or job or whatever, it really changes the dynamics between, especially a daughter and a family. Because it's like you're not married, but your vidai has happened. You know, uh, I understand how silly I sound, but it has its own emotional undertone to it. And I am feeling that right now. So, I don't know. I am afraid of being homesick. I don't know if I shared this ever on this channel or not. In my first year of law school, I was extremely homesick. Like, I didn't like anything. I didn't talk to anyone. I would just cry the entire day. I missed my mother. It was horrific. I'm the only child. I obviously grew up very sheltered, and that was my first time living outside, away from my home and everything. And when I was preparing to go to law school, I actually thought that I will never be homesick. I never even imagined or considered the aspect of getting homesick. I was like, oh my God, I wanted to go to my law school all my life. I'm going to be a lawyer, yay, and I'm going to live in this big city and whatever. And as soon as my parents left, I didn't even see them off to the main gate of my college. And after that, it just hit me. As soon as my mother said that she's going to sit in a train and that train will really stop at her hometown, it really hit me that I'm going to see them maybe 3 4 months later. And I think that's what I'm having right now. And I'm really close, and I'm really on the verge of having a PTSD. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh my God, is the same thing going to happen again? Because I don't know if I can take it. Now, obviously, there are other things. I have my own room. I earn. I can take care of myself. I'm not an 18-year-old anymore. I'm 26. Um, I can meet my parents whenever I want. If I want, I can just take a chutti and travel and finance it on my own and all of that. And of course, right now we have things like video calls. So, उस time पे उतना कुछ था भी नहीं. उस time पे we used to pay like 200, 300 rupees for 2 GB data. Right now we have so many other things. You know what I mean? Um, and I have obviously all the memories of these 2 years, which I feel like now when I'm going to get 2 years with my parents, until unless they retire and they move to the city that I live in, or something, we we figure out an arrangement like that. We are never going to live under a roof together for 2 years at a stretch, and it's awful to think about. All those people who you live in big cities, even though you're not living with your parents, but your parents are just like half an hour, 45 minutes away, and you can see them on weekends or whenever you want. You can just go and spend the night and have dinner with them whenever you want. Oh my God, you don't understand how lucky you are. You get your independence, you get to be a fully functional adult, and you get to see your parents. You have the best of both worlds. I'm really jealous right now. So yeah, it's a mix of emotions. I have to go, and I'm excited, but the fact that I'm leaving, I'm going to miss my drawing room, my bedroom, my kitchen, even the things that I do not like about my house. Everyone has things in nooks and corners that they don't like about their house. I'm going to really miss seeing my mother's face every single morning. I'm really, really going to miss watching movies with her and watching TV with her and all of that. Um, yeah, it's really difficult, guys. I have just 2 hours left, so I'll go and pack whatever is left, and I'll just see what all preparations are left to be done, and I'll keep you guys updated. I'll make a video on how my first day at office went. Of course, the transition from work from home to work from office is also difficult, but we'll deal with that in another video. I don't know. um, I'm not really great with goodbyes, and there's a lot of nostalgia that's really kicking me in my belly right now. And I'll try not to cry. I'll try not to cry while leaving because otherwise my mother is going to cry, and I don't want that. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult process. Anyone, and everyone who is leaving their hometowns to again chase their big city dream and do their job or study or whatever that is. If you're feeling nostalgic, I understand. It's completely okay to crave for a particular life and also cry while you're going for it. It's not easy leaving your comfortable adopt. It's not. I understand that. So yeah, uh, I'll see you guys in the next one.